week before the presidential elections, earlier this month, I warned America to watch the exit polls. Keep an eye on the extremely accurate exit polls to see if they match the e-vote results tabulated later and considered official. I said before the election, I felt something was going to be wrong. There was going to be a discrepancy between the exit polls and the reported results. And guess what? There was. At tdmsresearch.com, a gentleman named Ted Soares, a researcher with a background in mathematics, compiled the exit polls from 24 states, I believe. And he compared the exit polls, which in a clean election are extremely accurate indicators of the eventual vote. And he compared them with the e-votes that came later. And in 22 of those 24 states, there was a massive discrepancy between the exit polls and the reported results. And in every one of those 22 states, the discrepancy favored one man, Donald J. Trump. Hi there, my name is Tom Wright. I'm the founder and editor of Strong Liberals. Okay, so people have been freaking out about the polls. They didn't match up, not just the exit polls, but the pre-election polls in the days leading up to November 3rd in the presidential election. Those were way off too. People who watch these things, political observers, are and were freaking out. $1 million pundits, people who get paid $10 or $20 million a year to know this stuff, are dazed and confused. Political experts are stunned. Professional poll takers whose job it is to craft, create, and explain these polls are totally baffled. They don't have an explanation. How could the polls have been so wrong? My explanation differs from all of theirs. I don't believe this was a snafu. I don't believe this was random chance. I don't believe that this was a misalignment of the stars somewhere. This is systematic, and it appears to be a tampered vote. Despite assurances from the so-called experts who said that the election was clean, this discrepancy remains. I think it was clean in the sense that there was no vote suppression that was prevented on the day of the election, voter intimidation. The kinds of things that Donald Trump was yapping about were unfounded and are unfounded. However, computer counts that favor Donald Trump, by the way, are inherently unverifiable. You can't see those. You can't look at those because the software is proprietary. We don't know what happened inside of those machines. As I said earlier, exit polls were conducted in 24 states, and in 22 of them, Donald Trump came out significantly higher than he should have. The same methodology that was used to conduct these polls has been used in prior polls. Now, Ted Soares at TDMS Research, who has looked into this and crunched the numbers, has said that these discrepancies, dating back to the 2016 presidential election and the Democratic primaries of 2016, and continuing to this very day, that discrepancy in all of those races, all going in one direction, that it is a near statistical impossibility that it happened simply by chance. Keep in mind, computer vote counts are proprietary. The companies that count the votes don't have to share them with anybody. Not the public, not election officials, no one. That means that the three companies that control 90% of the vote counting machines in this country have proprietary software that they share with nobody, that it's inaccessible to election officials, and that the public does not see. As Mr. Soares says at TDMS Research, that means the vote is very easy to corrupt and very difficult to detect when corrupted, because it can be hacked, it can be altered. The source code that these companies rely on can be altered or changed with the flip of a switch. So it's incredibly easy to accomplish, very difficult to catch. But the way you do that is indirect, through the use of the exit polls. United Nations officials, elections officials, tell us that if there's a discrepancy of more than 2 or 3% between the election results, between the exit polls rather, and the fully tabulated results, then that is strong, strong evidence of fraud. I have here the 2020 presidential election results from TDMS research. And they show what the exit polls predicted as the ultimate outcome and what the outcome actually was after the machines went through the e-voting process. And in every case, you can look at this for yourself, you can go to their website and check it out at your own leisure. In every case, Donald Trump comes out on top, artificially, with no explanation. That is, as I said, and as I quoted earlier, statistically impossible. So, given what I have said, why did Joseph Biden still win the election? How did he overcome this alleged hacking, flipping of votes? What was different this time that wasn't in 2016 when Hillary lost inexplicably? Massive voting by mail and through other means, putting votes on paper in absentee ballot form, sending them in. Paper ballots can't be hacked. And so it is my estimation and my belief that the parties involved in flipping votes to Trump did not properly account for the size of the mail-in ballots, which helped Joseph Biden tremendously. Without the mail-in ballots, or if those had been done electronically, I think the fraud would have succeeded as it did in 2016. It did not, and I believe it did not, because of the millions upon millions of mail-in ballots that cannot be hacked. And that is why Donald Trump was furiously fighting mail-in ballots as if his political life depended on it. And it did, and it does. He knew what was coming. And that's why he fought tooth and nail to get the ballots excluded, to not let them be counted. He knew those couldn't be hacked. What is the background to this? What is the context? Some other commentators have asked me this, who are interested in this subject and what I'm talking about. Others have wondered, viewers of this channel, what is the context, Tom? Well, the Russians are engaged in a concerted campaign of cyber warfare against the United States to hack our democracy. It started 2 decades ago with the rise of Putin in 1999-2000. They've been doing this, and they continue to do this with their disinformation campaigns, chaos and confusion that they're spreading across the country, vote flipping, which is what this is all about, supporting neo-Nazis and far-right extremists in the U.S. and elsewhere. That is the context in which all of this is happening. The Russians are engaged in a war against America and the Western alliance in Europe. It is part and parcel of a bigger picture. So stay tuned for more. I'm going to provide additional insight and analysis about the election, about these results, and other subjects of American political commentary that you can't get anywhere else. What I've told you today is something the vast majority of the experts do not know. You are ahead of the game because you came here. You were smart enough to tune into this channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends about this channel. Send this video. Share it far and wide. It is my opinion that our democracy depends on it. And once again, please don't forget, strong liberals make a strong democracy.